All right there, everyone. Great to be back with you. We've got, once again, Bob Kudla of Trade Genius Academy here with us. If you're not familiar with Bob, he is the founder and president of Trade Genius Academy, which he started back in 2015 after 25 years as an executive for 2 Fortune 500 companies in the financial services industry. And over the past 5 years, Bob has amassed a 65% overall win record in the market. And so in our past conversations, I think, Bob, this is the 8th time you've been back with us. He's helped us make financial sense of the coronavirus pandemic, the post-riot economy, as we like to call it, and now increasingly a post-election economy. And so today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get a sense of what Bob sees going into November and beyond. So Bob, welcome back. Great to have you back with us.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Steve.
You bet. All right, so here we go. Just 3 weeks away from the election. Now, the last time we talked, Trump had pulled ahead of Biden, but now the media is really pushing some polls, rather select polls that show Biden way up. So how do you see things shaping up as we head towards November 3rd?
Yeah, so the best way to look at elections is not really what the polls say, but where the candidates are spending their time and where they're spending their money. And so Biden is spending most of his time and most of his money on states that he's supposedly winning where the Democrats have won in the past. That's a defense strategy. Trump is spending a lot of his time in districts, districts and states where the Democrats have won in the past, but have been shifting red. Kind of give you 2 examples. One is, he's spending time in Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then also he's been spending some time in Nevada. And today the polls came out and said that they're neck and neck. So what I usually take with a poll is that I'll add 5 to 6 points to the Republicans, because I think you're pretty close to the same age as I am, that my whole adult life, in fact, my entire life, I don't think a Republican ever led a presidential poll. Yet we've had 5 presidents in my life. I'm 5 Republican presidents in my life. So they're always biased towards the Democrats for whatever reason. I think there's sympathy for, in the media, and so they push that narrative. And so so our view is that, at least my view is that Trump's winning in this election, and I think they're pretty aware of the games that are attempted to be played in terms of the mail-in ballot stuff. And there's only a couple of states they really have to worry about. It's states that will lean Trump in the election but have Democratic governors. Like Pennsylvania is probably a corruption hellhole, and you're looking at Michigan is trying to play the same game, and to a lesser extent Wisconsin. But Wisconsin has a Republican and Pennsylvania Republican legislature. So I think there are going to be a lot of attention on those states. So my view is at this point now that I think Trump's going to win the election, and you can kind of see the enthusiasm. Biden's just like, he's nailing this thing in, okay. And if you think you are winning this election, you at least your attack person, the vice president would be going all out, and they're just not. They're just skating here, and so in Arizona last week they had this weekend, you probably saw it, if you're smiling, they had a campaign event and nobody showed up. I mean, literally nobody showed up. I mean, the reporter was like flummoxed, and I just sat there, I was watching football weekend. I just kept laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing, and I said, this would be funny if it wasn't so sad, because if these people get in power, it's going to be pretty scary, because there are a lot of very angry, amoral people in the Democratic Party anymore. I mean, just look what they're doing to Amy
Coney Barrett.
Yeah, Barrett, and they're basically saying that if you believe in God, that you shouldn't be on the Supreme Court.
Right.
Which is essentially saying only atheists are allowed to be on the Supreme Court, which is, that's not biased. I mean, all kinds of things can be approved with when you don't have to worry about an afterlife, right? So, and yeah, so it's, I think people are I think, asleep to this. I think people don't like violence. Maslow's law, right? The hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
The Democrat has violated rule number one. People feel unsafe.
Right.
I think they forgot the part where we'll make you unsafe, but then we'll make you safer.
Right. Right.
They just kept it stuck on unsafe. And I think people are like, whoa. Yeah. And it's still going on. I mean, Portland, they're still crazy. They're getting crazier and crazier in Denver. So all this stuff just feeds back into people and say we can't give these people power.
Yeah, it seems that, the more Biden is out there, the more he stumbles. Right, he had his "I'm running for Senate again" the other day. He couldn't remember Mitt Romney's name, referred to him as that Mormon. He had another event today that nobody showed up to. And then you've got Trump with these massive rallies. I went to one in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, just a couple of weeks back. It was stunning. And all the mainstream media cares about is, well, nobody's wearing any masks. So they become mask Nazis, mask Karens. But regardless, it does seem like we're seeing a very similar dynamic to what we saw in November of 2016. You just brought it up, where we're seeing this real discrepancy between the polling on the one hand and massive voter enthusiasm on the other, aren't we?
Yeah, and if they think they're scaring people away from the polls, it might be backfiring on them, because people say, hey, Biden got it in the bag, why should I go vote?
Right.
Versus no Republican is going to take for granted that a Democrat get in power, so they're gonna push pretty hard. And a lot of people say they're voting for Biden. I just simply ask them, what has Trump done that is so awful to you that the media proclaims him to be a tyrant? Tell me exactly what law. And they can't. I said the worst that's going to happen to you is the same thing's going to be happening, which has been okay. It's okay. Even if you don't agree with it, what don't you agree with?
Right.
The big issue people have is Obama. Nobody should not have health insurance in the United States. So that's off the table. Now you could say, is it too expensive? Yeah, but they're not going to make it cheaper.
Right.
So how about wars? Trump got us out of war. So I think Trump, I think he did a masterful job of basically cutting the left off. He basically moved, I would say, center enough on issues that, I call lunch pail issues. Even me as a conservative, I understand why these things need to be. My conservatism is about freedom. I don't have necessarily a problem that the government intervenes for people with need. Right. Or the government involves themselves to make sure a playing field is level. I think most conservatives will say, yeah, those things are okay. What we don't like is, obviously, we don't have to rehash it all here, but everybody knows what it is, where they just simply want to control your life.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, every step of the way, because you're stupid and they're smart. So, yes, I think Trump's going to win the election. So now it begs the question, what's next, right? Let's go on the assumption that I'm right, that Trump wins the election. So you have a couple things at play here. So you have this transition now between the old Congress and the new Congress. I'm assuming nothing changes. I'm assuming that Pelosi loses a little bit of power in the House, that the Senate stays the way it stays, and Trump stays in power. So the focus is going to be on things that they both can agree on, and it's going to be there's going to be pressure for some sort of direct infusion of cash into the basically the body of the United States, the people, direct. I think that's going to continue. Then there's going to be some here and there stuff to affect certain industries that are in trouble. Even though I don't like some of those things, they're going to happen because I'm not interested in having 100,000 airline workers out of work. Okay, I could set my economic theory off to the table here and understand I don't want 100,000 of my fellow citizens to get wiped out for an economic belief. I think you're going to see some of that. And then I think you're going to see I think Trump's just going to push the whole virus right out of the way. He's going to say, basically, hey, vaccines may not be coming fast enough. hey, this virus is going to probably mutate itself away like they all do, and we need to end the lockdowns. And oh, by the way, if you end the lockdowns, I can sit with Nancy and we can get you some stimulus into these states. And then it's all going to be and gone. And then 2021, we'll work on some more infrastructure stuff. That's my belief going forward. And so what that means though for the stock market is that I think tech is probably topping out, regardless of who wins. Okay, and then you're going to see money poured toward the commodities markets. You know, not necessarily the precious metals, although they're going to go up too. But talking about steel, copper, right, you know, palladium, platinum, uranium, stuff like that. So that's where we need to start taking positions and looking at those opportunities and start shorting the tech names. And the only thing to fly into it is I think commercial real estate's in big trouble. So if we slip into a recession, it's going to be stocks like REK, SRS, which are the inverse ETFs for real estate, and then look at maybe shorting like Simon Property with puts and stuff like that, because you know I think we have a secular change on our hands, Dr. Steve. People like this new environment. They don't like the lockdowns, but people sure as heck like working from home.
Yeah.
And I think companies are sure as heck saying, hey, if I'm getting enough productivity out of this, I sure as heck like knocking half of my commercial real estate bill off.
Yeah.
And I shifted some of my costs over to my employees because, you know, they're going to Staples and buying printers and stuff like that. And I'm not. Maybe, you know, I'm happy to throw them some, you know, expense money here and there.
Right.
Now, if I'm wrong and Biden wins this election or it becomes really contested, then I think the markets are going to take a really, really sharp tumble.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't be surprised between now and the election. The stock market is saying today that Trump should win. Okay, because big money would already be bailing out. Okay, if they thought Biden had this in the bag, because they'd be positioning for a sell-off of disgusted Republicans, right?
Right.
And so I tell people, look, shrink it up. You know, trade shorter, trade less. You know, if you made a lot of money, which you should have, you know, we're tapping out near the all-time highs here. You know, there's no sin in saying, hey, take 10, 15, 20% off the table if you're not a trader. Or if you're a trader like I am, just have more cash and trade a little bit more aggressively on less things. And you're gonna do fine. And then we'll just have to wait and see. And then look, you know, I tell people this all the time, and you believe as I do, is that look, God's in charge of this whole thing anyway. So if he's going to hand Nebuchadnezzar to us, we're just going to have to accept Nebuchadnezzar, you know, and just, you know, we have to just get on with our life, you know, because God's ultimately in charge and he has a plan that deviated from our electoral wishes.
Yes.
You know? So, but it doesn't hurt to pray for you to get, you know, to pray for what you want. So I'm praying every night and hopefully God blesses us and he's not ready to send us into this cauldron.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, the Nebuchadnezzar versus Cyrus, right? Yeah. Let's pivot on that now. I've got a couple of shout outs. I believe this was from today, one of your clients who got a $2,300 profit. Is this from the, you and I were talking about earlier today about a two-way market? Can you give us a little insight of how someone was able to get over $2,000 in profits today?
Yes, so I think that, and I think somebody else also, when that person posted their gains, the other person in the same room was following the same trade, and I think he made something similar to that. And that was actually, we have three rooms. One room is for stock trading, one room is for cryptocurrency trading, and the room we call it the VIP room, but it's really more of a day trader room. And we're actually, the traders talk like you and I do. The other rooms just have chats. And so we look at some more, I don't call them more sophisticated trades. We look at trades that a regular person that doesn't have over 25,000 in trading capital can't make just by regulation. So that was, we were trading the SPY, which is the main ETF. And there's a theory out there called Turnaround Tuesday. So Monday, the market was up a great deal. So going into the end of the day, we positioned ourselves for the market coming back down some on the market. So we positioned what we call SPY puts on those. And then I was teaching them how what's called rolling puts down. So as the price of the stock of the ETF kept falling, I showed them how to maximize each of those trades. And if you could see it in there, and then we had a hedge on there, if you could see what they posted all their trades. So you had one trade that had a fairly large loss, that was the hedge. And then against it were all the trades that were against that hedge, and you could see all those trades overwhelmed the hedge. And that's where those guys made, ironically, they made a little bit more money than I did. I had to take one more trade to beat them, at the end of the day that they didn't take. But I made 21.25 out of the day, and I think those guys made 2,200, 2,300 on the trade. It's all kind of mixed in there depending on how fast you got in and out of a trade. But that's what we do every day, and we do quite well in that room. So that's what those were for. Those are more day trades. The other attaboys I think we pulled off were from people just doing regular trades in the regular rooms, and so based on our ribbon system. And so we have a really cool system that just looks at price action. I don't watch the news. The only news I get is the news from you guys, in terms of what I call the real media. And so those guys in regular media use the news to move people out of profitable positions. So all we look at is price action. And so the ribbon helps us find these reversals in the market. And that's the two-way I was talking about. When the market is going like all summer was just drifting up, people are afraid to take trades because they don't know if a shoe's going to drop and it's going to drop hard. But when a market swings like this, it oscillates, our system can easily see those turns. And then we just place people in those trades, or they place themselves in the trade. I don't take anybody's money. And we just push out those trade signals for people and just go ahead and do that. And you can see, I don't know if one of the attaboys is sent or not. There was a whole bunch more. I had like 20 of them today. I just sent you the last 6 or 7. But one guy didn't even follow any of my signals today. He was just doing the ribbon all day, and they made money all day long. So that's what we do. We teach you how to trade. And we have the chat room so you can communicate. I'm banging away on the keyboard all day while I'm trading with people. And then we also throw trade signals out. Try to do 1 or 2 a day, for those people in the regular chat rooms. And then I have another Bob that sits in the crypto room and does what I do in the crypto world.
Yeah, I've got one. PLG on fire. Thanks for that trade, Bob. Nice one. It's a bird. It's a plane. PLG, LOL. Is that what you were referring to? Or?
Yeah, so PLG, we trade that one almost every week. There's certain stocks that just keep coming to the well, and those are the pay to build trades. So PLG probably. If you're trading that, I can't watch it every minute because I'm watching so many things and talking to so many people. But if you just have the alert set up off the ribbon, you could probably trade PLG 6 or 7 times a month. Wow. And you'll win 5 out of those 7 times. And when you win, you're going to win a lot more than you lose. And then that way you'll do really well. And we're in that trade right now. That was trade from last week. We're back in it again. And so I expect probably by Thursday or Friday, we'll have another winner on that trade. That's platinum. By the way, that's platinum stock.
Ah, okay.
So, I like to buy things that I know people are interested in. So any push down usually gets bought back. And we're doing it with FCX too, which is a copper gold company. And then we have a number of silver and gold miners and stuff like that.
Yeah. There's another one, Cron, CRON. Thanks for the 4.5% on Cron, Bob. What's the backstory there?
Cron is actually a marijuana company.
So, there you go. Yeah.
Not that I advocate it, but I advocate making money. If it's legal, and it's public, I'll trade it. And but yeah, so we got on 4 or 5%. Eventually, that thing went up another 4.5%. But one of my rules is don't be greedy.
Uh-huh.
And so if you can make 3 or 4% on a trade in 2 or 3 days, just take profit. Every day in this market is giving you numerous opportunities to make money. So our thing is that, look, if you make 3 to 5% on a trade, that's good business. You do that once or twice a week, you're making over 100% a year. Okay, so there's no reason to get greedy. I'm finding those trades almost every day. And today the market was down, and I don't know if anybody sent anything like SRNE in that list that we pulled out, is that trade was up I don't know, 6-7% today. That's a therapeutics company that we're in. So people took profit off that one today. It went from 11.40 to 12.20 while the market was down. So there's always stuff that's moving up when the market's down. Mm-hmm. And then when we get in a situation, which we will, I think, within the next 6 months, where the market will consistently go down, then we know we're going to be shorting the NASDAQ with an ETF called SQQQ, and we'll be shorting real estate with SRS. Those are easy things for people to trade that don't have a lot of capital because they're just regular ETFs. So we don't really care what the market looks like. As long as we can see the price action, right, and the market's open, we can help people make money.
Wow, that's amazing. Awesome, Bob. Awesome as always. Wow, I can't wait to talk to you again about this. So how can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about Trade Genius? And do you have any deals that are going on and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so tradelikeagenius.com, we put together 7 bundles. So from beginners all the way to the trader toolkit, access to the VIP room, access to what we would just call more personalized training. And so those are already pre-discounted, 65% off our normal pricing. And then we have to the 17th, we're still calling it Columbus Day, specials to the 17th. And anything that's in the store that's not bundled, you get 40% off of that. And so that's what we're offering today. And then, you know, we won't talk probably until after the election. So we have to do something the night before. Hey, buy the night before and I'll give you a free ticket that believes that if Biden gets in. I
don't know. There you go. Sounds good.
Yeah. So go to tradelikeagenius.com and we'll take care of you. You can call us, you can chat with us, you can text us. And we think we get really good value for what we provide. And just to give you an example, that $2,000 people made today, that's 4 years worth of an annual membership in our chat room. So just to show you that, and you can make that kind of money in the stock room, but you'll make that more in a week or two versus in a day, you know. Wow. So so we think we give really good value. So we hope people join us. We're just regular folk, you know, we're not Lamborghini guys, but sometimes days like today happen. And as you make money when it lets you make money, and then you pull it out of the market, put it in your pocket.
Awesome, Bob. Awesome. Yeah, and I ran into a couple of people who do watch this channel a lot, and they signed up, and they're very just newbies for you, and they're just very, very excited about really diving in here.
We love newbies. You know, everybody started from the beginning. We're very patient. We're happy to help. Anybody that hits me in the chat room, I answer everybody. Okay, so even if I'm trading, I have, just like you and I are talking, I got a screen talking to people that I'm talking to, and I have a chat room up, and I have my trading thing up. So anytime somebody chats with me, it dings. I can look over there. They can personally say, hey, Bob Kudla, you know, and that way I'll get a notification right on my main PC. I'll just flip right over there and answer the question. So, you know, I don't think anybody does what we do for the money we charge for the service.
It's fantastic. That's why we always have you back. It's very reassuring to know we have resources like yourself and your company during these crazy times that we're living in. Crazy, but pretty awesome times as well. So thanks so much, Bob. You're very appreciated.
Yeah. Thanks, Dr. C. Thanks for having me.